It's the mid-1960s and we're back at the docks to watch a typical day in the life of D2985, latter day class 07001. Introduced in 1962 and withdrawn in 1977. But first our new locomotive needs to be delivered. Here a class 24 is seen with the 07 mounted on a warwell with a parts van and brake van included. Why, you ask? Well, the 07s were found to suffer from hot axle boxes if they ran any distance at all, even when demeshed and towed. In reality, they were delivered by road from Lincoln, but hey, Rule 1 applies here as ever. These unique diesel-electric locomotives with their off-centre cab were built by Ruston and Hornsby in 1962, exclusively for the southern region of British Railways. The 14 built were primarily used at Southampton docks. They were withdrawn or sold to industrial use during the 1970s. With 275 horsepower driving just one traction motor, these locomotives had a top speed of 20 miles an hour and a tractive effort of 28,800 pounds. But key to their success was their extremely short wheelbase, allowing them to negotiate the tight curves in Southampton docks. Now our locomotive gets to work and its first job is to bring a short rake of Bulleid coaches out of the docks complex, ready for the train engine to take over. You can imagine the screeching of the rails of the sharp curves. Here, Standard Class 4, 75053, is entrusted to this train. It's a fine looking machine, isn't it? (75053) was built in 1957 and withdrawn in 1966. Back in the dock railway, it's all hands on deck. The 07 is busy making up one of the very important express goods trains. This is the banana special that has to be in London very soon. Notice the wagons passing under the loading gauge, used to test the height due to the limited clearance under the office's building. Just then a passenger service rushes past with a standard class 4 in charge. This is an extremely busy time, with just the reception siding free. Unknown to the shunting staff, one of the Southern region's new Type 3 diesel-electric locomotives is on its way, ahead of schedule, on a running-in trip from East Leigh, with a short mixed goods train. This really is the last thing the shunter needs, but the early train is signalled into the reception siding and told to go all the way down to the buffer stops. As it passes over the points, our 07 has to wait. The Crompton proceeds gingerly through the sidings until it reaches the outside shed buffer stops. As there is no chance of being shunt released until the 07 finishes with the Banana Express, the crew of the Crompton decamp and head to the goods office for a cup of tea and biscuits. D6553 latter day 33035 was built in 1961 and withdrawn in 1996. She was in blue livery by 1970. Now, with extra time pressures, the 07 makes up the banana train by combining the rafts of wagons into one train. In reality, each raft was made up of 10 banana vans, and there were 4 or 5 rafts per train. The 07 must now draw the train out of the sidings and onto the main departure road, ready for the train loco. The sharp-eyed among you will notice that the wagons requiring steam heating have been marshalled directly behind the locomotives. Yes, that's right, banana wagons, or vans, had steam heating to speed the ripening process en route. If you'd like to know more about this extensive and fascinating goods service, check out my Bananas by Rail video, shown in the top right now. We now see the train engine backing on, and it could not be a more appropriate or beautiful locomotive. 35016 Merchant Navy class, named Alders Fifes, is in charge, one of Mr. Bulleid's finest. She was withdrawn at the end of 1965. A powerful locomotive soon has the train underway. Just listen to the wonderful sounds the models make. These Hornsby Merchant Navies are some of the finest models ever produced by Hornsby, back in their 2000 to 2007 sweet period, when they had everything right. No horrible plastic valve gear, no silly pony wheel floating above the rail, and a fantastic looking model fitted with a virtually indestructible motor. Those were the days. Back at the docks, the 07 is now free to shunt release the Crompton. The 07 places the wagons in siding 2 and heads off to pick up a train for the Crompton to take away. Crompton slides out of the reception siding and into siding 3, where it tangles with the loading gauge. Next we see the 07 making full use of its 275 horsepower and 20 mph speed. The 07 draws the train of tank wagons into the reception siding. The Crompton now leaves the siding, let's hope the angry foreman did not notice the loading gauge, and sets back onto its train. Departure time, and the Crompton starts its train of tank wagons away. Something lovely for me to see a Crompton, or Class 33 running. Happy memories, I guess. The train will run to Hove via Havant, setting down tank wagons as it goes, including the Ronnet wagon at Bulleid. Notice the extra careful shunter has still added barrier wagons front and back, despite there being no real need with a diesel locomotive. For more on tank wagon trains, see my very special video shown top right now. The Crompton is soon making full use of the permitted 35 mph speed restriction on the tank wagons. Back near the dockside, another freight is on its way, this time headed by local standard Class 4 75073. You will have seen me repair the wheels on this one recently. 75073 was built in 1955 and withdrawn in 1965. She's hauling an interesting goods train of coal for the coal depot, petrol tank wagons, a fish van, and more Ronnet tankers, and several concrete hoppers. The train pulls into the reception siding, passing the waiting 07. Then the 07, with two vans, sets about shunting the train to siding 3. Now something of a highlight. While she is very much outside the time frame of this video, here is 35024, East Asiatic Company. She was the first merchant navy to appear in the express passenger engine blue for the newly formed British Railways in 1948. She was rebuilt in 1959 and scrapped in 1965, but once again, Rule 1 applies, and she is rather beautiful. Going back to what I was saying about the earlier merchant navy from Hornsby, once again this much more recent locomotive appears to be an excellent model, with a fantastic mechanism and great detailing, so they can do it when they want to. Why is it only ever on the merchant navies? Having been stopped for signals 35024 makes a classic slippery start. After arrival, she heads off for coal and water, and our 07 arrives to take the train into the docks complex. As she departs, our video comes to an end. Watch out for more about this video soon, as it will feature in something of a celebration. Cheers for now.